Okay, we're getting straight into this one with Uncle James Bashir. Uncle, how we doing?
Everything is good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let's catch up. Weekend had a lot of boxing on. Man from your area, young man, Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez, lightweight unification bout. I think Stevenson was. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
It was a junior lightweight title fight.
Yes.
100.
Junior lightweight. It's not like light. We call that lightweight here. Junior lightweight. There's lightweight. So it wasn't super feather. Was that super featherweight?
No. Junior lightweight is 130 pounds. Lightweight is 135 pounds.
Okay, so they were super. They were super featherweights then.
Super confuses people.
Yep.
If you're trying to bring somebody into boxing,
okay,
make them fans, you got to keep it simple. And the simple way is the old-fashioned way. In the old days, they called it junior lightweight, junior welterweight, junior middleweight. You call it junior. But when you say super, it throws people off. So I always go back to saying junior lightweight.
Yeah, right. I think they like to use the super lightweight in the UK more. I think the Americans like junior, and I think the UK like super.
In the UK, they say light welterweight.
Light welterweight, super welterweight. So then the Americans say super welterweight then, and then the UK say light welterweight.
All right, let's get on.
Let's go on. Anyway, those two guys.
I think very close. People when they say super. I mean, what is super? Please give me a break with that nonsense.
Okay, Uncle. So anyway, the two met for the unification bout. Shakur Stevenson, WBO champion, and Valdez, WBC champion. So it was to decide who the best fighter was in the weight category, correct?
Yes, but everybody knew who the best fighter in the weight was before the fight even took place.
That's pretty true. It's pretty true.
You know, but for formality and those who were wishing on a star, you know.
So you want to see a man tested, and to be fair, Shakur Stevenson, due to his immense talent, that has to be said, he's had a pretty easy ride, pretty cool, safe running ride. He's no real crisis moments, and they're thinking Oscar Valdez would have been the man to try.
You know, it's partially because Shakur Stevenson is so good, and so
he is.
He's a cut above the current crop of featherweights, junior lightweights, and could be lightweights. We'll find out when he gets to lightweight. And it's not his fault that he's so good. It's not his fault that the boxers now aren't what they were. It's not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
His job is to go out and fight and win. It's not his fault because the boxers are different now as opposed to 25 years ago. It's just not his fault. He's good. He's really good. He's talented, and nobody can compete with him. Thus far.
He was very good. He kept Valdez, as we thought, more or less quiet. That good right jab and straight left hand were.
Valdez seemed nervous to me. He seemed nervous to me. He looked like he was jittery. Partially,
he did.
He never looked like he relaxed in there, and I guess because he knew what he was up against. And
he and his team didn't want that fight of Stevenson. If they could have avoided Stevenson, they would have avoided Stevenson.
Of course.
You could see that.
And I'll tell you another thing. In my opinion, the people at Top Rank wasn't happy about the outcome. I was looking at the looks on the faces of the top ranked representatives in the ring. And I tell you, the impression that I got is that they were not happy. Thus, the billing Valdez versus
Stevenson. Yeah.
Not Stevenson versus Valdez. Could have been.
Yeah, but if you notice, Stevenson when he was going through emotions and going through the gears, he kept either poking his tongue out or he was making gestures outside the ring, as if he knew what he was up against, as if he knew, you know what, you all expected me to lose tonight, or you want me to lose tonight, but it ain't happening, and I'm going to put a beating on this boy. I'm going to be systematic about what I do.
Let me break the fast.
Yeah, Nate, the fast has been broken now.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were saying, you were talking.
They weren't happy, but Stevenson is so good that he outshines anybody in the division, as I can see right now. I don't think nobody in the division, in the junior lightweight division, can handle him. I really don't think they want to see him.
No, they don't. It seems to be a common thread or a series of fights, Orthodox versus Southpaw, how to fight a Southpaw and how not to fight a Southpaw. The last few weeks, it's been about how to close down a Southpaw and beat a Southpaw. Even the fighters have been unable to execute that. We saw Valdez, which I was actually, as I said to you off air, I was actually happy for Valdez. Although he was getting beaten up, outboxed, outmatched, outsmarted, outmaneuvered, at least Valdez was trying things. He was at least trying to come off at angles. He wasn't just walking forward in straight lines and getting the head popped back. But every time he did go forward and he made the mistake, like we did the preview, he came wide. Anytime he came wide for them big hooks, Stevenson was right there, straight down the middle. Boom, boom, boom. Precise, accurate. Anytime Valdez made a mistake, Stevenson made him pay. But they still tried something, was still trying things, but you could tell he was frustrated. Banging his gloves. He kept banging his gloves all the time. That seemed like a guy who's like, just grit down, bite the gum shield and keep going. Just come, let's try. Just go, let's try. You know, I know I can't win this fight, but I'm going to try. That's what he seemed to me.
Well, I just think that he was just outclassed. I think that Stevenson knew that Valdez was outclassed before they even came in the ring. I think Valdez succumbed to Stevenson in the pre-fight build-up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like a catch-22 situation. I'll be damned if I do, I'll be damned if I don't. So I just got to go out here and roll the dice and hope to get lucky. That's what it seemed to me as the fight progressed. As the fight progressed, let me just try to get lucky. And that's not happening.
One of the things I noticed about Stevenson, he does tend to repeat the same punches over and over again. He'll throw a combination and throw that same combination again. Now, you can talk me through this. You're the boxing expert here. But I was always told that when you throw the same combination twice, you're more liable to set yourself up to get caught A, with a sucker punch, or B, with a counter punch.
Well, my thinking is this. If you don't have to change nothing, then don't change nothing. You know? And Stevenson's speed and his accuracy and his senses told him what he can get away with. So I wouldn't. Okay. And he said, if I can get away with this, I'll do it all night.
Okay.
So I think that he was right for applying the same combination because I can get away with it.
But if you're like, I remember I was watching a fight that springs to mind. Harold Bomber Graham. Do you remember the fight against Julian Jackson?
Yeah.
He had Jackson out on his feet, blinded in one eye, and he's throwing the combination, boom, boom, and he goes again and throws the same combination, boom, boom, and then a big shot comes over the top. Graham was on the verge of becoming WBC middleweight champion of the world, and one haymaker out of nowhere. But if you go back and catch the tape,
I remember the
same
fight. I remember the fight.
Yeah.
Fight, you know, but Graham
and he was getting out box.
Yeah, he was. But Graham was staying too long in one place instead of touch and go, touch and go, touch and go.
So how does that differ for Stevenson, for people that are listening in and want to understand the difference?
Well, I mean, Stevenson hasn't proven to be a big puncher. He's, but Muhammad Ali wasn't a big puncher. He was just an accurate puncher. So you can relate to Stevenson as like a young Ali. You don't have to be a big puncher to be great, to shine. You know, and he shined pretty good with his boxing skills.
Has he got Mayweather? Because I don't think Devin Haney's got that. Has he got Mayweather-esque aura, Stevenson, the way he goes about his business? Because it's so clean, it's so good. He reminds me of Mayweather.
It remains to be seen. Too soon to say. But, he's on the right track, though. He's on the right track.
I think he's more on the right track than Devin Haney is. And they say Devin Haney is the next Mayweather, and I just don't see
it. That's a bit much, you know. That's a bit much. Stevenson is on the right track. That's what I will say. We'll see the real Stevenson come out of him when he's put under pressure. You know, it's diamonds are made under pressure. So when he when he moves up to the lightweight division, where the competition is going to be thicker than it is in the junior lightweight division, when he's got Tank Davis, you got Garcia, Haney, Kambosos, you got
Lomachenko,
you got, the weather is a lot stormier upstairs than it is on the floor that he's on right now. But we'll see him. I think when this young man get put under pressure, then we're going to see him shine.
Yeah, I think so.
More than we can in the division where he's just outshining everybody. When he's outpassing everybody, he doesn't have to step up because there's no need to. But in the lightweight division, he's going to have to step up. And I think that when he gets put under that pressure, he's going to come through.
There were moments in the fight where I felt that Valdez had moments. He was hitting Stevenson with good straight right hands down the pipe. He would double and triple up the straight right hand. He had success with that. And when he got Stevenson against the ropes, again, he had moments of success. And the thing is, Stevenson, I liked his composure even then.
Valdez, to me, I don't know, maybe it's me, but Valdez looked so much smaller than Stevenson when they came to the center of the ring.
Stevenson is significantly taller as well, isn't he? And longer.
But he looks thicker. He just looks thicker. He just looks thicker. Maybe it was me, But he just looked like
maybe. Are you suggesting he was Canelo weight?
But I do think that he looked bigger when they came to the center of the ring. They just looked thicker. I don't know.
Okay. Well, he's got room to grow, hasn't he, then? So that bodes well for the lightweight division.
Yeah, I think that Stevenson will wind up at junior welterweight, though.
Okay.
He has that kind of frame where he can grow into a junior welterweight.
How does his style blend with a Terence Crawford, would you say?
Two different styles in the ring.
Those two guys fighting, let's say they met at lightweight. Terence Crawford lightweight versus Stevenson. How does that fight go?
Very complicated fight. That's very complicated.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, it's a complicated fight. I wouldn't want to be a judge in that kind of fight.
The thing that I guess Crawford's got to his advantage is that he can switch from southpaw to orthodox. Punches with both hands.
In some cases, it's an advantage. In other cases, a disadvantage.
Okay.
I never like my guys switching up in the fight. You know, some people say, "Oh, you know, what if the left hand get hurt? You want to switch to right hand, vice versa." I never liked switching up. I've seen guys switch up and get caught right in the middle of the switch. And
yeah.
Next time we have a conversation, it's in the locker room. So I don't like it, you know.
Yeah, you got to be very good at that if you're switching up. So, did you see Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano?
I think that Amanda won that fight.
So do I. And I've got to say that Katie Taylor seems to have a.
I watched the fight, and I think Amanda won that fight.
I do as well, and I think that Katie Taylor has what do they call it?
Yeah, a horseshoe in her glove. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, she's got something that stops her from getting beat. It's like a video game that when it says game over and you should lose, you keep winning.
Yeah.
I don't understand that Katie Taylor thing. She got beat by the police officer. She got beat by Serrano. I'm not a big Katie Taylor fan. I think she fights her face too much as well. I think she could be a much better fighter if she had a better coach. That's what I think. Much better.
Who's her coach?
I have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you.
I thought she lost that fight, hands down. I just thought she lost the fight. It was a good spirited fight, but I thought in the end she lost the fight.
I think it was deliberate as well because I think that sets up a rematch. You know how Eddie loves a rematch.
Yeah.
And a homecoming for Katie Taylor.
Well,
rematch.
Eddie is probably why she won the decision.
Yeah, of course.
They said a split decision, but I had Serrano in a unanimous decision.
Serrano should have knocked her out. I thought Serrano was going to stop her. And I said that to you. I was saying to you, I think Serrano can stop Taylor.
I think in a rematch, I think she will. She could see because she see what she could do with her. So she's just stepped it up a little bit more. She could knock her out.
So people are saying robbery.
Yeah,
bigger fan base, but robbed the cards.
Oh,
all the fans support Taylor, but Amanda won.
What did you say?
All the fans support Taylor, but Amanda won.
Amanda won the fight. I saw the fight. Amanda won.
She wants to keep well away from my girl, Jessica McCaskill. She wants to keep well away from her because McCaskill will beat the brakes off her this time round. If they fight again, Jessica will outpoint her, just outwork her.
They'll rematch him. I think they'll rematch him.
What do you think?
I think in the rematch that Amanda wins.
I think in the rematch, Amanda stops her.
Yeah, she probably will. But Katie is tough. She's a tough girl. She's tough. She ain't no quitting her, you know?
Oh, yeah, she's very tough. But I don't like the punches she takes. She takes too many punches.
She makes it clear. She's there to fight. She's not going to lay down.
Yeah, but for an Olympic champion like her, I think that, and she won it on boxing ability rather than brute strength. It's just a shame when you see something like that and you think, what potential, what kind of fighter could you be if you align yourself with a really good trainer rather than rely on your own, really more or less on your amateur boxing skills to get you through. That's what I see with Katie Taylor.
Right.
You know, I just think she could be so much more with a better trainer. No disrespect to the trainer, because obviously she's gone on to be undisputed. You can dispute the fact that she's lost certain. You think she's lost certain fights, but have still got the belts.
Right.
much down to her physical strength and her chin. Anytime I see a fighter with using physical strength and their chin, I always question their boxing ability. So it's not like this girl didn't have an Olympic gold medalist background. It's not like she wasn't the best girl around.
Just leave it at the fact that it was a good fight. It was a good fight, despite I didn't like the outcome, but it was a good fight, and I'd like to see them do it again.
Says Ingram, Katie already punch drunk. Oh boy.
She takes a lot of punches.
She took too many punches, and I don't like him. I don't like it. I wouldn't like to see her after she retired, 4 or 5 years after she retired. Not going to be a good sight. Not going to be a good look. Anyway, moving on. News has come out from Matchroom Boxing, The Zone, that Britain's favourite heavyweight, the other one, Anthony Joshua, is scheduled to defend or to challenge Alexander Usyk on July the 25th, 2022. Just like you suggested on here, you said that you would like to see Anthony Joshua take the fight in July.
Yeah, it'll give him good time to strengthen himself in the areas that he needs strengthening. I think that'll be ample time to do so.
Would you want to, I mean, they're talking about having the fight back in London. Then they're talking about the fight in Saudi Arabia. Do you think he should fight in London? Do you think he should fight in Saudi Arabia? Or does it make a difference?
Once that bell rings, it doesn't make a difference. I'd take Saudi Arabia.
Why?
I won't say on the air why, but I'd take Saudi Arabia.
I think money talks.
Well, I think they're going to get paid a handsome reward for boxing anyway. But I chose Saudi Arabia for other reasons. You know.
Okay, we'll talk about that off here. So Hearn says there's more money to be made actually in Saudi Arabia than there is in London. Would you believe that?
Hearn says more money in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, more money in Saudi Arabia.
Well, thank Eddie Hearn for letting everybody in on that. You don't say, "Oh wow, that's revelation." That is really.
So somebody will come in here and tell me Eddie said, like, I don't care. Eddie said, like, if you know. But I think that Saudi Arabia is perfect. If AJ goes out and makes a fool of himself and Usyk were to wipe the floor with him, at least they will get the money back that they invested in him. So it's win-win because Usyk's in the same camp, right? He's part of the same organization, The Zone. So if he loses, if Joshua loses, they've still got Usyk.
Yeah, well, it's a good fight. Whatever way you look at it, it's a good fight. It's a legitimate heavyweight fight. And Joyce and
oh yeah, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
That's a good fight. So the heavyweight is looking up.
That's the fight for me. That is Joe Joyce's breakout fight.
Well, this is what establishes boxing followings.
Mm-hmm.
Make good fights. Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua is a good fight. One that everyone can salivate and, have mouth-watering sensations about the fight itself. But Joe and Joe is even Stevens with the Usyk fight. Because most likely the winner of that fight is going to challenge whoever wins the Usyk Joshua fight.
That's interesting. DLG 215 says Eddie tried to screw Usyk with Chisora. You better not forget. Yeah, well, you know that Usyk was going to the ring the night he fought Chisora and realized on his way to the ring that the ring was smaller than he anticipated. He only discovered it on the ring walk.
Right.
Can you believe that?
I would think that they would have had that all straightened out before they started the ring walk.
Well, no, that wasn't straight out. According to Usyk, he only discovered when he got in, like approaching the ring, that he realized it was a lot smaller. Got in the ring, he realized it was a lot smaller than advertised.
Right.
So, as a challenger, can Joshua request a smaller ring, or does the champion say, look, I want a bigger ring to move around? How does that work?
I think the champion has the right to dictate the size of the ring.
Right.
I just think that that's his right. He's the champion. He can say, well, I want it to be a 24 by 24.
But if he's
okay, the champion.
But if he's the champion, he could technically say, I don't want to fight in Saudi Arabia, and I don't want to fight in London. I want to fight somewhere else. I want to fight in America.
I don't think he cares.
You don't think he cares?
No, I don't think he cares.
Okay. All right. So back to Joe Joyce. And remember I said I consider Joe Joyce the British George Foreman.
Yes.
I can see Joseph Parker's going to show a lot of movement in that fight. I think he's gonna jab and move, jab and move, jab and move around the ring against Joe Joyce. He's not going to want to engage. And where
fight, I don't care how you look at it. It's an interesting fight.
Who you going with then? Interesting fight. Who you going with?
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
You're the heavyweight expert. You're the specialist.
It's a 50-50 fight.
Ah, come on. You can't do 50-50 fight, Uncle. Come on. You can't do that.
Oh, look, the whole adage is that a boxer is only as good as his last fight. And Joe Parker's last fight, he was bigger. He seemed to be stronger. And he seemed to have a rebirth.
Okay.
So they say you're only as good as your last fight. In the last fight, he was good.
Okay.
So I would call it a 50-50 fight. Anybody can win this fight. It depends on whose game plans is established in those first 3 rounds, because those will be critical rounds in that fight.
Yeah, but again, we can go back to the amateur pedigree of both guys. You look at Joe Joyce, and then you look at Joseph Parker. You know where the amateur pedigree lies, and that's with Joe Joyce. He is by far the superior boxer. If you look at the amateurs and the Olympics, does it not fall back on that?
I do believe in such a thing as trainers breathing a new life into boxers.
Yeah,
you can have a guy with a whole hum career because him and the trainer,
I thought he hit a ceiling.
They're in a slump.
Yeah, he hit a ceiling with that guy.
Eddie Lee is a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely.
With Joseph Parker. And I think that they're working good together. And I think that breath of fresh air could change the mentality, change the progress of the boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, very touching situation. This is going to be a good fight. I want to sit back and watch. Joe Joyce is going to be Joe Joyce. He's a heavy-handed, come-forward fighter. And he's a crowd-pleasing fighter. Because you don't know what's going to happen with Joe Joyce, but you know something is going to happen. So, I'm anticipating that fight. I don't think that Joseph Parker is going to be able to hang around and just do nothing like I've seen him in the past. I think that Eddie Lee is making an impression on him on the mentality. And I think I'll get a different Parker in the fight. It's going to be a good fight.
Definitely going to be a good fight. Let's talk Tyson Fury, Dillian White. Let's revisit that. And let's talk about the champion and his retirement. And he's talking about wanting Deontay Wilder to fight for the WBC title first. 2 questions. 1, should Deontay Wilder come out of his self-imposed retirement? And 2, does the boxing world deserve Deontay Wilder?
I think Deontay Wilder deserves another shot at boxing. I think that the fans deserve to see him in a return bout. You know, he's in this self-imposed exile, but I don't know whether it's exile or whether he's just thinking about what he's doing, recounting himself, enjoying himself. Boxing is not an easy thing, so sometimes people got to take a leave of absence, so to speak, and regroup. So I think that Deontay deserves to come back, and the people in boxing deserve to see him again.
Okay. You know, as he says, a fighter gets older. Certain fighters, as they get older, it's done for them because they rely on speed and reflexes. Is Deontay Wilder's style one of those styles that he will?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not relying on speed and reflexes. No, he doesn't. Deontay Wilder is just saying, I'm going to knock your head off, and that's it. Good jab and a right hand. That's all I need to find you. If I find your temple, your chin, good night. You know, that's his thinking. That's been his mentality all along.
I don't understand boxing fans. They want knockouts. But when you get technical, they complain. But when you get violent knockouts, you can't box. When you can box like Mayweather, you're not appreciated.
It doesn't matter. I don't care how my fighter gets the win. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the old-fashioned mode. Hey, win tonight and look good the next time.
Okay. So if you were managing Deontay Wilder's career, who would you get him to come back against?
I'd rematch Gerald Washington.
Gerald Washington.
Yeah. Or either.
Why Washington?
Because Gerald Washington was actually putting up a good fight against Deontay Wilder.
I said as soon as Gerald Washington starts walking backwards or his back touches the ropes, that's the end of him. Washington can fight for 3 rounds, and then after that, he's done.
The other guy that just fought.
I'd like to see him fight Hellenius.
I was just alluding to that.
Hellenius. That's a good fight.
I was just trying to think of Hellenius just now. I was just trying to
Hellenius.
Just of the Polish kid he just fought.
Yeah. Kawanaki.
Kawanaki. And I said to you before that fight, what Kawanaki's people go back after
and fight that guy again. I don't know.
Perfect.
They don't know boxing. They don't know boxing clearly.
Hellenius or either Gerald Washington would be a good comeback fight for Deontay Wilder. I think those are good fights for him.
There was a fight scheduled at one point between Huey when Wilder was still champion, and it was going to be Wilder versus Huey Fury. How do you think that fight would have gone?
I don't know. Huey Fury is a mover, you know. He moves
nice jab.
And now Huey Fury is scheduled to fight Michael Hunter, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that story. Ooh. What do you think of that fight?
I don't know, you know. I don't know. It depends on which Michael Hunter comes and depends on which Huey Fury comes. I don't think that Huey can beat a Michael Hunter. But it depends on which Huey Fury comes in the ring. All right? If the focused Huey Fury comes in the ring, he can create problems for Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter is leaving much to be desired based on the last fight that I saw him in. You know, like he's messing around, like he's not applying himself in training.
Okay. I think I would. And Andy Reese versus Luis Ortiz.
Good fight.
Who's your money on?
I'd go with Ruiz.
Really?
Yeah, I'd go with Ruiz.
Why?
I think that Ruiz at this point has more desire. More desire. Okay. He has more desire and more things to apply in application. I don't think that Ruiz wants to box. I mean, Ortiz wants to box anymore. I think that he wants an outro.
Who?
Wants to
Andy Reese.
Walk away.
Yeah. Andy Reese.
No. Ortiz.
Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, because he was getting beaten in that last fight. He was getting beaten. Yeah. You know, he's getting his head handed to him in a hand basket, and oh boy, the southpaw slipped up and got hit.
Got sent to the phantom zone.
Yeah. Yeah, he got separated from the senses and stood there. He should have. You looking back, I'm thinking that he should have took a knee.
But that combination.
What goes through a fighter's head when he get hit that hard? Ortiz apparently hit him hard.
He was checking back for his ancestors. Ask him to come to the fight.
Well, he got hit hard, and he was standing there. Obviously, he was dazed, he was confused, and he got hit again, and he lost. You know, but I think in that fight, you can see that Ortiz is headed down the
road. Charles Martin, Deontay Wilder comeback fight. Charles Martin, Deontay Wilder.
It's a dangerous fight for both guys because Charles Martin can punch a little bit, you know. So it's a dangerous fight.
Okay.
Exciting fight, but a short fight either way.
Okay. So
that fight. If I was Deontay Wilder, if I was his advisor, I wouldn't take that fight.
Okay. Boxing doesn't deserve him. They were against him. 8 million consulting fees to a certain crook. We now know why now. Corruption.
Say that again.
Boxing doesn't deserve him. They were against him. 8 million consulting fees to a certain crook. We now know why. We know why now. Corruption.
I don't follow.
Yeah, if you could elaborate on that, that'd be really great. Tyson Fury, sudden retirement. Do you find it odd, particularly after they're going after his old mate Daniel Kinahan? I haven't spoken too much about it, but the feds are going after Daniel Kinahan.
You know what I think about that? I think that Tyson is trying to get the boxing media and fans to salivate over him. Hoping that if Anthony Joshua wins against Usyk, that please come out of retirement and fight Anthony Joshua. Please, man, we'll give you $125 million, please.
Yeah, but if he gives up the WBC belt, it will no longer be undisputed.
Yeah, but that won't matter. That won't matter. The people just want to see Anthony Joshua versus
Tyson Fury.
But
people want to see Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua.
Well, Deontay is going to fit the mix. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how you look at it. You can bring him. You can bring Deontay back against Tyson Fury. Again.
Who's the most exciting heavyweight in the world, including Deontay Wilder? for you?
You'd have to put Joshua and Usyk in that mix.
Exciting heavyweights. I would hardly call Usyk exciting. He's good, but I wouldn't call him exciting.
Yeah, Usyk can be exciting, but you got to have somebody in there to mash the gas to make it exciting.
Okay.
But if you let Usyk do a sidewalk act, it's not going to be exciting. It's just going to be routine.
It's got here, not AJ.
What happened?
He says not AJ in terms of exciting. Uncle, you're also Hrgovic and Zhang.
I think the fight is off because Hrgovic's dad died.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, the fight is off, and they're looking for someone to fight Zhang. You know, I got a call about Vlasarenko, but not put my guy on with no lefty at the last minute. Mm-mm.
How would Sarenko, you think, go against Zhang?
You have to work in the gym and prepare. People say, no, it's not a big thing, but it is a big thing. You face no lefty, you've been facing righties all this time, and then you fighting a lefty. So Zhang is a big guy. You know, anything can happen in a fight. I'm trying to think like a manager and a trainer.
I hear that.
Wouldn't put him in at this point with Zhang.
What have you made of Zhang's development as a fighter?
I think he's at B level. You know, I think that the Hrgovic fight would have seen Zhang turn the corner in his career. You know.
You think you would have beaten Hrgovic?
No, I don't know if he could beat it, but I'm saying that fight would have propelled him in a good losing effort or winning effort, but either way, it would have changed his perspectives as a heavyweight fighter.
There's a heavyweight, I've forgotten his name, Mamadouoff, whatever. He's got a big head, just big like Value. I can't remember his name again. He's just knocking guys out. Mamadouoff, he knocked out. He beat up.
Who's that? The Russian guy?
Yeah, the Russian guy I'm talking about. Mamadouoff or Mama something.
Well, he's got to get out of Russia because the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, the WBO, they're not doing business with him.
Okay, so there's no chance of him then. Somebody will tell me what his name is. Thoughts on Jared Anderson? I think I've spoken about Jared Anderson before. I think he's a good fighter, but I still think he's defensively vulnerable. But Uncle, you're the heavyweight expert.
Soon to talk about Jared Anderson. You know, he's at the beginning stages of his career. He hasn't proven anything yet, other than the fact that he's a big puncher. He can box a little bit, but we can't tell what he has or what he hasn't until he's been in the fire. You know, when we see him in the fire, then we'll see what Jared Anderson has. But so far, he looks good.
Yeah. Let's see here. It says here, BWTM, not getting notifications, just caught your life. My suggestion to you and to everybody is subscribe to the channel. Go across and make sure you click to all for notifications. YouTube have got this thing where you've got personalized and then all. Go across to the bell in the corner and make sure you click to all and not personalized. That will help. Zhang undefeated. Yeah, I think Zhang is undefeated. Jerry Forrest, yeah. Jerry Forrest is dangerous. He looks dangerous, Jerry Forrest.
Yeah, Jerry Forrest is dangerous for anybody.
Okay.
You know, he looks dangerous for anybody.
Oh wow. Says Johnny Rice, Avery Gibson just KO'd Whack.
What?
Whack just got knocked out by Johnny Rice. I like Johnny Rice. He's one of my boys.
Marius what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end for him.
Yeah.
He should
I
get
like
out.
Johnny Rice. Yeah.
Marius Watch get out now.
Do you remember that heavyweight you were working with at one point, and now he's gone working with Oliver McCall? Don't know what's happened to him. Heavyweight.
Yeah, I know, from Texas.
Yeah, what happened to him?
I don't know. He just disappeared.
He was working with Oliver McCall.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Shame when that happens. Stevenson, school Valdez, tactical skills of back foot, baby. Indeed. Blessings to you all, BWTM. What happened, White? Did the trainer fail him? I'm starting to see patterns of coaches with no experience. Wilder, White, Malik, Xavier Miller, worried about AJ. You've got every right to be worried, my brother. You've got every right to be bothered. You're going to the dance without substantially qualified trainers in major fights, life-changing fights, without life-changing coaches. Yeah. But, Uncle, you can step in.
More in boxing than any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commonplace in boxing now to bring a friend and put in your corner, as opposed to bringing somebody that's qualified to put in your corner. But that's boxing. Boxing is a strange sport, but it's a sport that will never get out off the ground because of that kind of foolishness. I think it's foolish.
Can I ask you a bizarre question, Uncle? It just landed on my lap. That one of the reasons a fighter would not invest in a trainer is because they don't believe they can actually win the fight. So they're thinking to themselves, well,
or they don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, but if you want to win, you at all costs, you'll do what you need to do.
They don't want to spend the money. A lot of these guys don't want to spend the money. I'm telling you.
And why is that?
Let me tell you something. They'll spend money on women,
cars.
They'll spend money on sports cars,
rings, jewelry,
but they
gold tooth.
Spend money investing in a teacher, and that's crazy. I think that's madness.
That's why Lennox Lewis is separated. They separate Lennox Lewis, Tyson Fury. Very few fighters that make the change and they invest in a world-class trainer, teacher.
Yeah. Yes, you have to. You have to. I mean, every other sport, especially the big sports, soccer, football, basketball, baseball, they all bring in qualified individuals to head up their teams, to head up what they're doing in the sport. But boxing is not like that. And that's why boxing won't ever get off the ground. It'll bounce up and down, but it'll never stay up here because of the foolishness that's involved in the decision making. It's foolish. It's foolishness.
Okay. Frank Sanchez, that's my boy. I like Frank Sanchez, Uncle. I like Frank Sanchez.
Yeah, he's a difficult fighter to box.
He's my tip for being heavyweight champion of the world, or at least having a version of the title.
He's a difficult guy to box.
Usyk versus Sanchez, Uncle.
Very difficult fight. For both guys, it's a very difficult fight. I mean, Sanchez and Usyk is the kind of guys that you don't sit around your apartment dreaming about getting in the ring with.
I didn't even look at the comment section, and that was brought up. Usyk versus Sanchez. What? I've got a few comments. Uncle Bashir, what happened to Boy Flair? What happened to Boy Flair?
Oh, he got clipped. He got clipped. But I think that Blair is good for boxing. He's good for boxing. Yes, it's good, right?
He's good for boxing.
He's good for boxing. I think he's good for boxing.
He's good for a laugh, Uncle. He's good for a laugh. He ain't good for boxing. He's good for a laugh. I'm sorry. Look, I can't take that boy seriously. Come on. He was calling Errol Spence. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. And people were believing it. People actually believe in it. He's the truth. He's the next this. He's the next what? Don Curry.
He slipped on a banana peel. Let's give him another chance. Let him come back. He's good for boxing. Because he talks the talk and he'll get in the ring and try.
You see, he didn't say he talks the talk and walks the walk. He'll get in the ring and try.
He'll get in the ring and try.
Like one of your favorite fighters. What's his name again? Rolly. It's one of your favorite fighters, Uncle.
We're going to find out what Rolly is in a little bit.
He'll be rolling around the canvas. That's all I know. That's all I know. That boy's going to get seriously hurt. But that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Malik Scott is a joke of a coach. Well, you said it, not me. That's again. Arsalan.
Joke of a coach.
Yeah, joke coach. Malik Scott.
He's what?
He's a joke of a coach.
That's why I said that.
Uh-oh. What makes you think that? Please elaborate, Mr. Sanders. The gentleman's name is Arslanbek Makhmadouov.
Well, I think that Malik Scott is just coming out the door as a trainer. So, let's see what he does before we fast cut.
So, Makhmadouov knocked out Johnny Rice, Gibson, and Wack. I didn't know he knocked out Rice. I'll have to go and look at that fight. Seems like Zhang will get aged out. Something just keeps happening to him or his opportunity. Currently 37. You know what Zhang reminds me of? Zhang reminds me of those guys in the 90s that somehow the other day seemed to get a piece of the heavyweight title. You had so many heavyweight champions. Bruce Seldon, Axel Schultz, George Foreman, Francois Botha, Michael Moorer, Evander Holyfield, Bruce Seldon. The list went on and on, didn't he? Of heavyweight champions.
Yeah.
Zhang reminds me of one of them kind of guys. He'll get a version of the title.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The clock is ticking on Zhang. How old is Zhang now?
37.
Huh?
37, but he's 37, but he's a heavyweight, isn't he, Uncle? So heavyweights usually get better as they get older. Frank Sanchez, Dark Horse. Let's quickly go through these. How Shakur Stevenson do it at the 135. We spoke about that earlier. Would Uncle Bashir coach Wilder? I think he's got a lot left. If Wilder would listen, but would he listen?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that that I could work with a guy like Wilder, because it seems to me that it would be easy, if he listened.
Okay. Bob Sanders says, I think he's a shot fighter who's losing athleticism before he lost his. So that's Deontay Wilder, maybe, that is losing athleticism. All those injuries as well he was getting. But some of those ridiculous training methods he had, where he was using the weights incorrectly. No wonder he was getting injured.
Yeah. Well, those injuries could set you back to it.
Yep, Daniel Jacobs and GGG did that. that ditched trainers. Yep, they certainly did. Didn't work out. BWTM is knowledge. People today don't want to buy knowledge rather than to go watch. Yeah, of course. That's what Uncle's saying.
No, like I said, people do some strange, crazy things. You invest in a good house, you invest in a business, a car, women. Why not invest in somebody that's going to walk into that ring with you in a situation like a life-death situation? It's a dangerous sport.
I hate to say it's because they're boxers. That's the reason why they're boxers. Yeah. I hate to say that. But for the most part, these fighters mark the stereotype. It's what it is.
Not good. Not good.
It isn't. Jacobs went back to Rosier and still lost, but Jacobs, don't rate Jacobs anyway. Bob Sanders, even Fury said Wilder's got a lot left. The truth is we don't know until he steps back in the ring.
I think that he has a lot left. Wilder didn't, like you said, outside of his injuries, he didn't get hurt that bad in boxing.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Those two fights, though, particularly the second fight, he took a lot of big bombs, shipped a lot of shots.
Yeah, but I think he's all right. I think that he's all right.
Oh, dear. Oh, God, F.A. Jagba. He needs his head taken off and re-screwed on. He's got some issues there, F.A. Jagba. What do you think, Uncle?
I don't know him that well to say yay or nay on that.
He started off okay, but it seemed like he had some issue with his trainer, and he seemed to have lost his head since then.
He's not being trained by Ronnie Shields anymore, right?
I think he left Shields and he went back to Shields. I think he left Shields and went back to Shields. I think they patched things up. That's what I heard.
I don't know.
Jane, Fury's telling that because of how much trouble he had with someone everyone deemed limited. So instead of realizing he's not as good as he thinks, he has to make the Wilder better. Yeah, that's what I think. That I believe that more. That's the way Fury is. The great politician, Wilder Fury. Man, that boy got spanked. He's probably talking about Blair Cobbs.
Yeah.
Malik Scott trying to add extra the word extra honest things to make a product duck under a hook, hold the phone, proceeds to motion with his right side instead of his left that Wilder was getting hit with. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on. That not being funny. I saw Anthony Joshua doing an exercise. They were put it on, and Joshua was ducking under a hook. He was ducking under hooks, bending and ducking under hooks. I don't get it. I don't understand. But that's me there.
You know, in my mind, there's so much that can be applied to the boxers. Period. There's so much that needs to be applied to the boxers that are current now.
Uncle, I tell you now, if you were to write a book, I think it would greatly enhance you. A book. Greatly enhance you. Because I think that book would be charge a good fair whack on it, but that book would be your legacy and telling others just about who you are in your book. No holds barred.
Oh, these guys,
because they need it. They need it.
I got a few more years, I think, in boxing. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? If you were to do that, you could educate. What's that, Uncle?
I said I got a few more years in boxing, and then I'm gonna pack it up and go to enjoy the rest of what I have left in my life. You know, I just can't make out heads or tail in boxing no more. It's just the crazy things that goes on in the sport. You know, the crazy thing. Everybody's up in arms about Errol Spence versus
Crawford.
Mm-hmm. But my thinking is, how old are those guys?
They're in the 30s.
Huh?
They're in the 30s, I think.
Thomas Hearns and Ray Leonard fought between, I think it was 23 and 25 years old. I mean, these guys are in their early 30s, and we're still talking about Crawford versus Spence. And I'm saying, when?
Yeah, but both guys are in their prime, would you not say? Or they're in decline. They're not going to get any better, let's put it that way. So it's downhill after here.
It'd be a little bit past their primes.
Okay.
They might be in it, but they might be a little bit past.
I think Ugas might argue with you there, Uncle.
No, Ugas got beat, but I'm saying, you know, he's not a defensive wizard either, you know.
He got beat up bad, Uncle. Real bad.
Well,
real bad.
Pacquiao.
Huh?
He got beat up bad by Pacquiao.
No, he didn't get beat up that bad by Pacquiao.
But he got beat up, though. You looked at his face after the Pacquiao fight? He took a beat.
Yeah, I did.
Like I said, he's not a defensive wizard, you know. He can be hit, you know. But Crawford versus Spence, it's a bit late in the day. I think that they should have mixed it up in their 20s.
Uncle, I see you have an old VHS. Do you have any boxing gems on VHS sparring videos? Oh, I'd love a few of them. Maybe some cracking sparring.
You wouldn't believe. I got. Do I have any? I got videos here from the 70s.
You need to be selling that stuff, Uncle.
That you can't get it on.
Hey, I'm coming. I'm coming around for a cup of tea, a long cup of tea.
You can't get these fights on YouTube. I got videos here from the 70s, man.
Uncle, not street fights, you know. We want proper sparring, no street fights. No back alleyway New York fights, proper street fights, proper boxing fights.
Here from ABC, CBS, and NBC on Sundays. I used to sit one television in front of me and two televisions on each side of me, and I used to tape them because I'd have three fights on Sunday afternoon. NBC, CBS, ABC. When they fights would come on, three fights at one time, and I would tape them all. I would sit in the middle and tape all of them.
The first tape fight for me was Nigel Benn versus Michael Watson, and then after that was Evander Holyfield versus Ellison Rodriguez.
Oh, Ellison Rodriguez.
Oh, that was nice. That was setting the Mike Tyson fight up.
I sit back these old videos that I got here, and I get more enjoyment out of those old fights than I do at the current fights.
Quickly, let me go through these. Ali's grandson, any thoughts on him, Uncle?
No, the jury is out on him.
Mm-hmm. GG sacked his trainer because he didn't want to pay him. That's true.
Whoever?
GGG sacked his trainer because he didn't want to pay him, Abel Sanchez. Even though Sanchez helped him get to where he was. I mean, he's not been the same fighter since Sanchez has left him.
Yeah, I think he was getting $30 million. He wanted to get a guy $100,000.
Not good.
Stevenson
Valdez gave me a passing reminder of Mayweather Marquez. Mayweather, bigger and more polished guy, kept the smaller guy on the outside of the jab and reach. He looked to be in quicksand. Yeah, I could see that. Marquez, Mayweather.
He felt that Stevenson was bigger.
Yes.
He looked. I don't know if he was, but he looked bigger. He just looked thicker. He looked thicker. Some kind of stronger. When I looked at him when they came to center the ring, I said, "Hey, man, you know what?
That's not Ali's grandson, LOL. Well, I can get that checked out if it is really his grandson. I can always talk to his brother.
Who said this now?
Rahman Ali.
It's his daughter's son. What are you talking about? What is his daughter's son?
Nico Alexander Walsh, not Ali.
But it's his daughter's son.
FAA Jagba had the potential, but he's so in love with his power that when he meets a boxer that he can handle the said power, he switches off, much like the Charlo brothers. Okay, interesting.
I don't know about the Charlos, but that when he alluded to that part, but I do agree with everything else that he said.
Okay, I see the VCR in the back. My love for Mr. Bashir just shot through with anyone with one of those is certified legend. Thank you, love you, love it.
Wait a minute, you see that?
Yeah.
You see that? Yes. I don't have one. I don't have one VCR. I've got 5 VCRs in my living room. I got more, and they still work.
I agree, James. Uncle Bashir needs to write a book. There you go, Uncle.
Oh man, I wish I could. I wish I could.
James Ali Bashir, you don't need to, Uncle. There's a way around it. A Dummy's Guide to Boxing. It would be a New York Times bestseller. Uncle,
Would you say a Dummy's Guide to Boxing?
Yeah, I could put a book together just based on all the interviews we've done over the God knows how many years. Since 2000, we've been doing interviews for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? Almost. 2023 will be 10 years, Uncle.
Wow. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
It was blessed us to live that long.
Yeah. We need an Ali Bashir documentary. Oh, I totally agree on that one as well.
Yeah. I'll be game for that. That's nice.
I'm not convinced, BG. Waiting for Layla Ali to support him. LOL. He said Fury's the greatest. Oh, hell no. LOL.
Shakur said that Tyson Fury was better than Ali.
Oh, God.
He said Tyson,
oh, no.
That's his opinion. That was his opinion.
The same Tyson Fury that got beat
I disagree with him.
By John McDermott. I disagree
with him.
I think I'll disagree.
But it's his opinion,
James Ali Bashir, A Jab and Much More. That would be a great book. See? People are saying you need to get that book, Uncle.
Yeah.
Documentary and book. Spence is still in his prime. One of the things about the Cuban boxing school is the protracted amateur career, way too long before going pro. Hopefully, future Cuban fighters will learn. Bashir's Boxing Bible.
I think there's some necessity for amateur careers, and on the other hand, some amateur careers last a bit too long for me. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Jeff Finnick. Here's a guy that didn't put the gloves on until he was 17 years old. He went to the Olympics at 18, 19, and at 21, he was the world champion.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a case for and against. You take a guy like a Maurice Harris. This guy turned pro at 16. And when he turned pro, the heavyweights was banging. There was a lot of good heavyweights out there. David Tour, Rockman, Galata, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson. A lot of guys was out there.
Mm-hmm.
But Harris turned pro at 16 years old. I think in his 6th or 7th fight, he was in with Vaughn Bean. But he turned out to be a really good boxer. So sometimes an amateur career is necessary, and
sometimes it's not.
Other times they're not.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good amateur fighters that couldn't do anything as a pro.
Mm-hmm. Henry Tillman.
They couldn't get up. They couldn't get their feet off the ground as a pro.
Uncle Bashir's got footage of back alley brawls, guys with backs, chains, and everything. Right now, YouTube's not ready for that.
No.
Oh no, he hasn't got that.
But look, I got fights going back to ESPN with ESPN. I got fights that goes back to Tuesday night fights. I got dozens of fights from Tuesday night fights. All right. All of those fights that went back through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, in the early 2000s, I got them on tape.
We should do a watching boxing with Uncle Bashir. We should do it. Get the camera.
I got dozens of tapes here, dozens of them.
Watch fights with Uncle Bashir. That'd be great. Let's see more comments there. Oh, it's getting. Nico is Rashid Ali's son. Rashid is Ali's daughter. Oh, wow. Rashida's on my Instagram page. She follows me. Rashida Ali. I've said hello to her a few times. She dear me.
The boy is Ali's grandson. It's his grandson. What is the advantage in him not saying that he's his grandson? He's not.
I don't know. Don't retire till you have a son and you train him, Uncle.
I don't think he's cut out for boxing, but he's trying.
Okay.
You know, he's trying. He's trying his best, I believe.
Uncle, don't retire till you have a son and you train him.
My son making days are over.
Did you see holes in Fury when he fought White? I saw a lot.
It's easy to see somebody when they're under pressure, to see holes in it, Yeah, he made some mistakes, but he's a good fighter. Tyson Fury is a really good fighter.
How unlikely is Bivol versus Canelo going to turn out like Stevenson Valdez? I don't see it that way.
No. Look, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. And I think Canelo wins that fight.
I'm going with Bivol for that one.
I don't think Bivol has the guns to keep Canelo off him.
Okay. By the way, what's your thought of Ramirez, the light heavyweight, or super middleweight up at light heavyweight now? I think he might move to cruiserweight. Unbeaten.
I just don't see him enough.
That's it. I meant to do an interview with him this week. Oops, sorry. Let that slip out the bag. But yeah, I meant to do an interview with him this week. Ramirez. Unbeaten, 40, I think it's 43 or 44-0.
And how did nobody not know him with 44-0?
I don't know. He was the guy that nobody wanted to fight when he was super middleweight champion.
Right.
Nobody wanted to touch him. I think, yeah, Callum Smith was offered the fight. He went, no, straight up.
Yeah, well.
Smith didn't want any of that.
He's moving to light heavy?
He already is at light heavy. He might be up to cruiserweight.
Well, he's got to get some visibility somehow.
Yep. The Cubans apparently just allowed professional boxing. That's true. Mr. Bashir was like Tom Cruise in Minority Report with the VHS tapes. LOL.
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 VCRs in my living room. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. I got 2 TVs. I got VCRs, and I have a duplicate machine in here.
A what?
Where I'm going to switch the VCR over to DVD.
See, okay, wow. Uncle's hooked up. We know that Shane, he's still not Ali's grandson. I see no resemblance. LOL. Layla's boy is more like Ali. That's true. That is true. Can't knock that. Layla's boy does look like Ali.
Yeah, Layla's boy looked more like Ali, but that was Layla. They got to understand that Ali's daughter is married to another man. That boy came from another man. Layla came from Ali. Oh, I'm messing everything up. That's his grandson, man. Stop it.
Lennox Lewis versus Oliver McCall's second fight. Did Lewis beat him fair, even with McCall having a breakdown?
I think that Lennox was going to beat him, but it would have been tough. It would have been a tough fight. If Oliver was there to fight, it would have been a tough fight. Anybody that's fighting Oliver McCall, they're in a tough fight. If McCall wants to fight, you remember Henry Akinwande was beating up on McCall,
and
I remember the corner getting on McCall, and saying you got to do something. You got to come alive and start working your jab and doing this and that. And McCall shouted to me, said, "Everybody, calm down. I got him. I got him. I got him." And in 2 rounds, he went out there and knocked out.
Akinwande.
Him out.
Yep. I think Canelo Bivol starts at tentative but catches fire around round 5.
Huh?
Says Shook says, I think Canelo Bivol starts at tentatively but catches fire around round 5.
No, I think it's going. I think it's going to go. Huh?
Okay. All right.
Bivol is not going to lay down.
No, he's not. He's going to fight.
He understands that somebody is invading his territory.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to defend that position.
Yeah.
He's going to defend that position. So he's not going to go away quietly into the night.
He ain't no Callum Smith. He ain't no Billy Joe Saunders. He ain't no Danny Jacobs. This guy's a cut above that. He's a genuine threat, I think.
No, Bivol is going to fight.
He's a genuine threat, I believe.
Bivol is going to dig down.
I looked at Shakur's body last night and immediately thought 140 pounds.
Yeah. He looked thick to me. He looked really thick. He looked really thick. I can see him going all the way to welterweight.
Yep. Is he Sonny Liston's grandson then?
What happened?
Is he Sonny Liston's grandson then? He's laughing. He then says to Shane, he's saying, Shane, this isn't a Dean White situation.
What's a Dean White situation?
Well, it came out that Dean White isn't actually Dean White. His name is something else. And he's not actually Dean. It's not Dean White's brother. It's something. The connection.
Oh, please.
Yeah, okay. More specifically, Shakur versus Gary Antoine Russell stylistically. Twine, how you doing, brother?
That's exciting. I like that fight.
Could be. Ike Ikebuchi, how dangerous was he? Would he have won? Well, who would have won if Lennox was Ike? I would have gone with Ike. Yeah, you might go with Lennox. I'd go with Ike.
Good fight. It's a good fight. Lennox Lewis was a big man that knew how to use his weight. He knew how to use a good jab. He was a tough guy. And Ike Ikebuchi was a tough guy too, but he wasn't being crazy. So it was a good fight.
Ike's work rate. If Ike can back Lennox up like Oliver McCall, Ray Mercer backed him up, then we got the work rate and hand speed and power of Ike. It's a great fight.
Yeah, Ike Ikebuchi was a tough guy.
He's going to back Lennox up though.
Okay, my man, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no worries. I've got to get ready for tomorrow's show.
So we can get together tomorrow.
Yep, we can finish this off tomorrow for sure.
We can do a part 2.
Absolutely, Uncle.
But this is the last day of Ramadan, and I got the Eid tomorrow.
Yes.
But tomorrow evening we can talk again.
Well, Eid Mubarak to you now, Uncle.
Yes, Eid Mubarak. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Good night to all.
Good night.